I'm Denise Raleigh with the soon-to-be-famous Illinois Author Project. And again, that's a project that's shared among many libraries and many library staff members across the state of Illinois. We thank everyone for their contribution, and especially the people that are on the committee. We'll roll that in the credits, and you'll see who the movers and shakers of the soon-to-be-famous project are. But I'm here today. We have this wonderful opportunity to talk to Geralyn Hesslau Magrady, and she is our 2016 winner. Geralyn, would you tell us a little bit about your background as an author?
Sure. It started more with genealogy. I consider myself an unofficial genealogist, and one time when I was coming across different records, I noticed that I had a great-great-grandmother who was here in Chicago prior to the Chicago fire of 1871. And later in my research, I found out that she was here after that. So that got my English teacher brain working. I've always loved writing. I've always loved reading. And so I started creating short vignettes, these little descriptions of what it must have been like, maybe if she was in a tenement building, or where did she go? Where did she live? What happened to her? What did she lose? And then one thing led to another, and these vignettes just started threading together kind of into a story. So I kept going with it, and before I knew it, I just was obsessed with the genealogy, but then I started getting obsessed with the research. I've always loved Chicago history, and I just, I guess, engrossed myself in all that I could with Chicago history, and then started placing my great-great-grandmother, Livia, into those scenes. One of the interesting things is people always ask me, well, did she do this? Did she do that? I know nothing about Livia, other than what was on a census record. She has the name of my great-great-grandmother, but that's it. So everything else is just my creation of what could have possibly happened to someone during that time period. It's a really fascinating time period.
Definitely. Talk a little bit about how the Chicago fire worked into your book.
Well, the fire, when I was teaching, I did all of my writing over my summers. I am an English teacher. Years past, I was at a grade school level with 7th and 8th graders, and now I'm at the high school level at Fenwick in Oak Park. And during the time of the writing of this, during the summers, I would talk about the Chicago fire with my 7th graders because it was a part of the curriculum that we covered. And it was interesting because the students became so passionate about it too, to find out what happened to their own ancestors. The fire, Livia, I'm not going to tell you too much about it because you'll find out in the book. But Livia does survive it. And that's the key, is that she did in real life, and this story carries her past that.
The whole contest is blind judged. But when we get a winner like you, who is so passionate about libraries, it's fantastic. And again, we love to have played a role in you becoming a writer and where you write. And I know you're very grateful to the Berwyn Public Library. I
am. The Berwyn Public Library was pretty much our escape place when my sons were young, toddler age. It's where they developed their own love for books. And I was able to do my research, where we could sit in the corner and I would give them their books, and then I would be in the Chicago history section. But the library was always a part of my life, even before I was at Berwyn, when I lived in Chicago, even as a child. So the Berwyn Library, I had heard about the soon-to-be-famous Illinois Author Project through the Chicago Writers Association when the onset 3 years ago. And I thought it was a fantastic idea. And I knew that someday, if I ever finished my book, that I would want to submit it. Luckily for me, one of the librarians at the Berwyn Library, Josephine Tucci, thank you, Josephine. She is not just a fantastic librarian, but she was a personal friend of mine. And I said, I'm done. I finally, after 10 years, 10 summers of, writing and rewriting and researching and writing again and doing more edits, it was finished. And I knew that the deadline was January 4th, when here I was on December 15th of last year, coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the publication. I asked what do you think? And she said, let's do it. We can get it in by January 4th. And so she read it, she critiqued it, we got our paperwork in, and lo and behold, thank you, Berwyn Library, because I wouldn't be where I am today if they hadn't gone that extra mile for me, especially Josephine.
Oh, yes. Thank you to all the libraries who are part of the project. Again, and thank you. She did go the extra mile. The project no longer requires your librarian to read your book, but it's sometimes, so we get folks who just pass them through, and we get folks who read them and critique them. And again, they go into the contest either way. So thank you for the librarians who encourage their local authors too. So that's another whole big role that we see out there. I've seen you talk to authors. Again, Geralyn is just a fantastic ambassador for authors and for the contest. But some of the questions are, how do you write? And so if you could talk just a little bit about what what inspires you, or how do you do it? What's your physical space that you like to write in?
For many years, it was anywhere and everywhere that I could find to write. We know as moms that when you are at home, there's always something else that you should be doing. So since writing is my hobby, there are times that you just think to yourself when you get stuck on a thought, I should be doing this. There's a load of laundry that has to be done. There's grocery shopping that has to be done. There are bills that have to be done. Mom, help me with this. Mom, help me with that. Well, as my boys got older, I finally had an opportunity to find my writing place. It is called The Friendly Coffee Lounge, actually, in Berwyn on Roosevelt. Please go check it out. And it was here that I would get there at 7 a.m. in the summer, and I could go home at noon, and my boys would be just getting up. I mean, they were, approaching the teenage age where they didn't need me 24/7 to be doing everything. So it was in that place that I had my home away from home. They really allowed me to blossom in that place. It was it's a creative spot. There are a lot of musicians and writers and teachers that come through, and they were supportive. There were things that even in conversations with people, all of a sudden those conversations would spark something that would truly affect one of my scenes.
Ooh.
I think the sensory detail that I started bringing to my, up to the draft really had something to do with the music of The Friendly. It's a kind of a music-themed place. So all of that just became a really inspirational spot. I felt very comfortable there, and I could go into a zone and continue writing for hours on end. So that was I think my big moment of blossoming in the whole story, because I had just cut the first 50 pages and I needed to really get to work. And so the past 3 summers have been, pretty strong with The Friendly.
That's fascinating. And I know you are a member of a number of author groups. By and large, does everyone have a unique writing space?
I think so. Maybe not a writing place, but they have something. There's either a specific spot like me, or there's a specific time they get up and write in the morning or at night. I don't have that. I don't feel like I'm more creative at one particular time of the day. It's just when a story hits me, when a dialogue comes to me, I need to get it down. So for me, it's just having a place. A couple of things when I go into the Chicago Writers Association and I take a look at their conversations that are going on, or I'm in an online community with Writer's Digest. And when they talk about their favorite places, everyone seems to have something that's a favorite, but not necessarily the favorite place. This is my comfort zone.
Well, we are so happy that you chose to enter your book into Soon to Be Famous Illinois Author Project. Winning the project, how did that impact you as an author?
Writing was a hobby. Now it's the real deal. I received more exposure than I ever thought possible. From the moment that I won this award, There have been interviews, author fairs, libraries contacting me. I just joked the other day, I think I need a secretary because just the amount of emails that come through, it blows my mind. It blows my mind at how many people are really interested in the story, how many people want me to come and talk about the story. And that's important to me. It means something to me. So I think the one big thing that I never thought of either, I mean, I guess when you win an award, you think you're going to have an interview or two. You might have an author presentation. You might be at an author fair. One thing I did not anticipate were the book clubs. This has become a big favorite in a lot of the local book clubs in my area. And that, it's just amazing. I mean, I still, to this day, it doesn't get old. I see these women walking into a house, all of them holding my book under their arm, and it's really indescribable to see these people having a conversation about my characters and my conflicts, what motivates them, what's putting them into, that scenario. It's fascinating, it's very exciting, and I feel very blessed to have been a part of the whole Soon to Be Famous competition.
And we thank you. And again, we think this is a revolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's like locally grown food to the restaurant. Right. This is locally grown, Illinois grown, wonderful book content that we're delivering to the people of Illinois.
Right.
So thank you for being part of our revolution and being such a wonderful part of it. If people want to get in contact with you about coming to their library or maybe even Skyping with you, how can people get a hold of you?
Easiest way is to email. That's g.magrady@yahoo.com. You can also visit my website, which hasn't been updated in the past month or two. However, it's going to get updated very soon. But it has all of my access information, and that is GHesslauMagrady.com.
We are still accepting nominations for next year until that's January 7th of 2017. Though you will always be our 2016 Soon to Be Famous Illinois author winner, and we're so proud, and thank you so much for spending time with us and for being such a wonderful ambassador.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us today. Again, we were visiting with Geralyn Hesslau Magrady, and we were talking about the Soon to Be Famous Illinois Author Project, and she was a wonderful winner. Please pick up a copy of Lines, and you'll see what we're talking about.